Hey there, everyone. I hope you are all doing good. Stasma here. Welcome to this new episode of Schlappy Patching. Today we are going to talk about the shift register part of the Nibbler, and we are going to use two of them. One to create a stream of gates and step voltages as shift register can do, and we are going to cascade that to a second one and make weird rhythms and sounds out of them. To start with, here is a little piece that I've made using the recordings from this session to give you an idea of the kind of stuff that this has inspired me to do. And then we'll get going with the patching. Let's go. Have fun. Okay, so let's talk shift register. The basics of the shift register part of the Nibbler, as we've used it in the Wrangler patch, is to send something into the shift data input and send a clock to the shift input. You need to be in async mode for this to work. I'm going to take that sine wave LFO from this side of the tree body as the data input. And I'm going to use this end of rise from this boundary as a clock. And we can see that we have things going on. So basically, when it receives a clock at the shift, it will have a look at if the input is high or not. And if it is, it will add a bit and shift that bit around like this and create stepped voltages. So what we are going to listen to is going to be this oscillator. Because we can modulate it by this one, and I like the sound of it. We're going to leave it in ratio mode. Let's have a look at that step voltage. I'm going to attenuate that step voltage and send it back to 1 volt per octave so we can have a sort of pitch sequence that is always ratio of the main oscillator, that we can modulate by it. Okay, to make this a bit more interesting, let's use one of the shift register gate to trigger an envelope. We're going to send our sine wave at the input of the boundary VCA here and take the output. So this is triggering the envelope on a rhythmic basis set by our clock plus data input. Let's also send that envelope to control the FM index. From here, there's lots of stuff we could do. We could start. I want to have a pulse, a regular pulse. I'm going to take the envelope output of the clock, because it's a boundary, send it to the angle grinder, and filter output to the main mix. just to get that sort of plucky ping in the background. I like that. Now I want some kind of a snare or noisy thing. I'm not sure I've actually showed it properly, but you can make white noise from the bitfold using its feedback circuit. To make it work, usually put the gain like this. And search with the feedback until I get the proper that's what I was looking for. Okay, let's send that to another boundary in the VCA input. And let's use another gate. Yeah, I like that. If we wanted to make this a bit more complex, we could use more than one gate. Put them into the bit mix. So right now we have only the first one. If I flip this switch, I add the third one, which will give me a complete different rhythm. And what I like to do is cascading these kind of things to create more voltages. For example, we could use that stepped output that goes high quite often as the clock for another shift register. And we could take the step voltage here as the... Oh. Made it upside down. Here, for example, I could use that slowly created step voltage to modulate whatever. Bound, for example. Let's offset this one. What I love about all these sequencing schemes that I would have never thought of doing such rhythms myself. You could add the last voice. Saw wave into the angle grinder as a bandpass. This is pretty weird and cool. I like it. Don't forget that flipping that thing on the bit mix will completely change everything. This is a pretty weird patch. I love it. And anything you start to change here that we haven't touched, which is our data input for the first shift register. As soon as you touch it, everything will change. Same as the clock. Let's stop here. This was some shift register music today. Have fun experimenting with these to create gates and step voltages and use them in your patches. And feel free to tell us what you've done with them. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.